Okay, so let's um just go over this video because I said Nate that I was gonna do a video on this. I believe no, I didn't like it. Okay. Like this video because I didn't mean to. I couldn't share it as you can see, so that's why I'm doing a video on this. Alright, let's start.
The video. I know I've been gone for quite about a month now. I apologize. I've just been busy with personal family issues, but I'm currently back, so be expecting some videos. They're coming. They're in the works. But today, man, we're going to talk about how light skin privilege never existed. All right, because it really wasn't necessarily set up in the way for light skinned men, especially, to succeed in that way. If you look up the dynamics of the American Negro society, the races were centered around color. Now, us who know what race is, we know that race is not color. Race is nationality. In the Bible, it speaks about nationality as race. To be more specific, it's actually tribe. It's not skin color. So, if you look at our nationality, we're black. Our tribe is called black. Even though we're not black, we come in various shades of brown. So based off that, automatically, people were going to, that's why you have a lot of so-called light-skinned Negroes who are calling themselves black, and people are looking at y'all like y'all slow. And since we're so ignorant, we just, keep arguing with them, trying to say, yes, we are black, this, that, and the third. But it's not going to benefit you. And that term black is not going to benefit really any of us, but especially light-skinned Negroes. It's not, particularly the men, because that leads to competition with people. All right, with men. All right, and this is why a lot of you brothers, you have to branch out.
I think honestly with this whole situation that it's never benefited anyone who is of a lighter hue with blackness, because the image tends to be dark, and like you said, it's focused on color. So because of that, what ends up happening is you end up getting all the struggles of being black, but you get no benefit because you're invisible. So it's actually a light skin disadvantage. There's no privilege, though, and I agree with that. Continue, though.
From that black name, and start your own thing. Because when you think of the black man, or a black person, they're always going to, viewed as a darker skinned person. They don't have to be ADOS or FBA. They can be a Jamaican, a dark skinned, whatever, Nigerian. So that's just going to pop up in people's head. It's not going to pop up as nationality. All right. So with that being said, when it comes to black,
and that's true about the whole thing is dark skin, and this is the thing: dark skinned Black Americans align and identify closer to other dark skinned Black people, regardless of if they are Black Americans, they're dark skinned Jamaicans, dark skinned Africans. It doesn't matter. They still will align more with those people than someone who looks differently from them. So I never understand why pretend, why keep up with the damn game. If the game is that these people don't see you the same as people far away that have no culture in common with these people but still have the same image as them, then obviously you need to just take it as reality. You have to be honest with yourself. And honestly, like, I learned this long time ago, back when I was 20 on 21. I've said this before. There was a situation that happened, and it made me open my eyes to understand that if you immerse yourself with people that don't look like you, even if they acknowledge that you're the same, they're going to come out when push comes to shove and say you don't look like them for the time being. That's just what they do. And for me, it's just like, I personally, you know, had to realize that. And when you realize that, you kind of have to distance yourself from those type of people. It doesn't mean that you must identify as something else to me. I mean, like, I don't think anyone can control how I identify. I could identify as Chinese if I want to. It's my choice, you know what I mean? I could identify as anything I want to identify as. But it's a matter of choice in who you associate with and how you socialize with certain people, and understanding that there's a difference no matter if you don't want someone to recognize it. Continue.
So-called black history of black benefits from white people, which a lot of black people are receiving now. That's why you notice light-skinned Negroes, especially the men, y'all get skipped over, even though that y'all been through the the exact experience that darker-skinned black men been through. Especially, I'm talking about non-mixed light-skinned black American men. You have the same experience. Y'all grew up in the same, environment. All right, which y'all still get passed over for the darker Negroes. This is not nothing new. If you look at all the NBA, the NFL, the Hollywood, all of these places are dominated by so-called black people of a darker hue, particularly the men. And the people who own these corporations are so-called Caucasian Jewish. And they handpick these people. If you go to any porn site, that may sound crazy, but notice it's mostly darker skinned Negroes. Now, I don't know if light skinned Negroes are trying out for these positions, but if you notice, they would purposely pick the darker ones because it never existed. Now, don't get it twisted. They do associate darker skinned people with being more.
Honestly, I think I don't want to put her stuff out there, but she's not in porn, I don't think. But she is a cam girl. And she was sharing her experience with her experience as a cam girl. It's Paisley Hayes. She's a light skinned black girl. Um, she even says that her birth certificate says black, and I think both her parents have that as well. I think that's what they do in the South. They put your race on your birth certificate or something. But anyway, she was saying how for her it was so hard for her to uh, be a sex worker as a cam girl, as a light skinned black woman. Most of the time because of what you're saying. Because with light skinned black people and lighter skinned black people even, the when people look for like porn for like anything like sexually related, and they are specifically looking for someone who is black, they are fetishizing and fantasizing over dark skin. It defeats the purpose when you take off your clothes and you have no dark skin whatsoever. It's basically, especially on a screen, almost comparable to white people, and is the same as Latinas, you know, on a sexual basis. And I've always known this personally. On a sexual basis, lighter skinned black people are not sexually appealing in the same way dark skinned black people are. And you have to understand how to market yourself. She always said that she specifically um, tries to put her she tried to put her stuff, her camming, and when she was starting up as a cam girl, she was trying to basically wear like different hair that wasn't hers, but like extensions, I think, um, and blonde hair and so forth, to make herself look ethnically ambiguous, you know. And that was the way she made her money, was basically by being ethnically ambiguous. A lot of light skinned and lighter skinned women find that they make more money when they're racially ambiguous. personally, for me as a phone sex operator, I have the same thing where it's just easier for me to be racially ambiguous and really not associate with any race. For me, I don't associate with any race. I'm not going to put myself as Hispanic, black, or anything. But, it's just kind of like a situation where you don't want to put yourself as black because you will be overlooked for some dark skinned black women because dark skinned black women have the image they're looking for. When people think of black men, black women, they think of dark skin. They do not think of light skin, not even on women. Some people say that women benefit from having lighter skin. I think it's in the idea of dark skinned black men preferring lighter skinned women. But I don't really think it's specifically a thing where, in the sense of the black woman's image, the black woman's image is specifically seen as dark, just like the black man's image is seen as dark. They both are. And yet we try to identify with an image that we'll never have and will never be. And somehow, if we don't, something's wrong. And it's like, but you're still having this situation where you're basically overlooked for darker skinned black people because that's what people associate with being black. So it's kind of like, why continue to hold on to an image that no one really sees you as? They don't think of you, they don't associate you with it, but you keep holding on to it. It's just because the way one was raised, obviously, they identify with being black. And they are black. But, I think it's good to be aware of how society sees blackness. First of all, so then you can know how to move accordingly. Anyway, continue.
Compared to lighter skinned Negroes, they are more threatening to people of other nations. It's just natural. It's just what it is. But it's not y'all fault because darker skinned people portray that image, particularly dark skinned men. They portray this, not all of them, but a lot of them portray that street thug image, but that has nothing to do with y'all. With these things about privilege, it never existed. Everything the so-called light-skinned black man has gotten, we received out of the mud. Alright? Because that's why I say you brothers have to control your narrative, because they're trying to paint this picture of y'all as if y'all came from white people. Light-skinned black people do not come from white people. If you read the Bible, there's light-skinned black men in the Bible. And it tells you where light-skinned Negroes of America come from and how we got that complexion. It has nothing to do with DNA mixture. So, this is very important, and I'm going to make a lot of videos on these topics.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people don't realize, that there's like a lot of Central Africans and Igbo people who are light-skinned. So I never understand why people always associate it with white people and white privilege and things of that nature. I think they honestly think of it that way because they think of mixed people and they think that they automatically come from a better family because part of their family's white, so then they have privilege, which I think is silly in itself because I don't think white people automatically have privilege, but the point is, with light-skinned black people, it's a problem that lighter skinned black people in general don't really get the image of blackness. And then, in my opinion, it hurts in both ways because you have white racism and then you're not even visible. You're not even understood to be black. Is your race, like the racism that's done to you, no one even is really conscious of or cares about because you're not even seen as the real image of black people. Sometimes some people can even pretend they don't know you're black and get away with the fact that they're racist against you. So, I mean, like, there's so many things that could happen to a lighter skinned black person, on this level that I honestly think is more problematic than what dark-skinned black people say they supposedly experience. That's why I always say there is no privilege to being lighter skinned. It's on only a disadvantage, honestly, especially if you're claiming black. Like, the only time anyone gets a privilege out of any of this stuff is if they denounce blackness. When I say denounce, I don't mean specifically talk badly about black people or blackness, but in the sense of your existence and who you are and how people look at you. Like, if they don't see a black person, if they see a Mexican person, if they see an Indian person, if they think you're Middle Eastern, if they think that you are white, if they think you are Asian, you know, if you look like another race, then yes, there's a privilege. You can have situations where they will have like racist situations, and you'll see someone who physically looks black will get the brunt of that, and someone who doesn't will not. That's all about passing and everything, which is weird because people talk about passing and then they only talk about like people passing as white, but they don't really pay attention to the fact that there's a lot of people who don't look white, but people aren't really reading them as black. They're reading them as other races. So it actually changes their experience. And then they want to chalk that off to light skin privilege. It isn't, because honestly, plenty of people who may not even be light skinned sometimes aren't perceived as black, because there are plenty of people who are brown that aren't black. Like, they biologically aren't black. They aren't, their race is just not black. You have Indians, you have Mexicans, you have Asians, that have darker skin. So it's not specifically a colorism issue. It's not really light skin privilege, because you'll have a light skinned black person who looks black, and they won't have, obviously, any benefit or advantage over the next person who's brown and not, black at all. A brown Indian, a brown Asian is gonna not be perceived as black at all, while the light skinned black person is going to be perceived as black. That's why light skin privilege and colorism does not exist. So that's all I wanted to say here. Thanks for watching, everyone. Like and subscribe, comment down below, and have a great day. Bye, guys.